Okay guys, welcome back to my channel, Coding with Namdi. This is once again the financial technology series. We have been building rather the e-wallet application. Right now we will be endeavoring to complete the back-end section for the integration with Stripe. So without further ado, let's go ahead. All right, so what do we do now? Okay, so yep, we had created that in the previous video. Okay, so if you recall from here, that's the post request essentially made from this fetch value here. We'll go to this method called process Stripe payment. So let's just go there. Okay, so what I will do now is I'll put that here and yeah, minimize this. Okay, so what we will do, what do we do, how do we approach this? All right, okay, so let's just try and catch. And we'll have multiple catches. Okay, I'll explain to you why in a sec. So the catch one will be card, I think it's card exception. Yep, pulling out from the Stripe, so we just say exception E. And we'll also catch just the general exception. So that's the card exception if there's any issues with the card. But let's also catch general exceptions. We can use throwable or just exception. Okay, you'll see why in a sec. All right, so what we should do here is set the Stripe secret key. Okay, that's Stripe set API key. Okay, and if you recall, config, and it was services dot Stripe dot secret. Yep, and then we get the user making payment. We'll write a private method, but I'll just put this here. Let's see, this gets user. We'll say get user here. We'll say get user here. Say get user. We'll write that private method. We'll write that private method to get the user. We'll write that private method to get the user. What do we say? Okay. So what we will do is, okay, so what we'll do is this. We'll just write helper functions. Yeah guys, you'd hear my children at the background if you're attentive. Function get user, and in this we'll just do the requests. And what are we trying to return here? would return a request user, and that's it. Request user. Okay, so that's, yep, we know which user essentially is making that payment. Let's now get the amount in cents, because that's how Stripe essentially does it, in cents. I'm going to cast it to an integer. Requests, you can say amount multiplied by 100. Okay, and this converts it essentially in cents. What else do we do? Let us I think what I normally like doing is I like making the currency this is just string to lower PHP method function, which just takes the value retrieved from the currency and just changes it to a lower case. What do we do now? Customer. Okay, the customer, let us say this, because we'll create get or create Stripe customer. And to do this, we will essentially need a user and just the request in general, because we would pass some other values from the request. Okay, so what do we do now? We create that helper method. Let's call it a private function. That helper method, let's call it yep, that's what we called it. We gave it user and requests, and in there we just say there are different ways in achieving this, but yeah, I would essentially say if there is no user, like a Stripe ID, then what do we do? Say customer user. Let's create as, because these are like inbuilt that ships with cashier as the Stripe cashier. Sorry guys, just thinking about this. Let's create a Stripe user. Yep. Then what do we do? Say this, we write another helper function and say this attach, call that attach payments or payments method. Let's attach that to the customer. But that, what do? We say let's pass the user, let's pass a request that has a payment think attached to it as well, that we passed from here, if you recall, payment method. Yep, that payment method, essentially that's what we're going to pass here. Is that correct? Yeah, I think so. Yes, payment method, that's it. Yep, that's what we're passing. And then user Stripe ID equals to essentially the customer ID. Then we save it. So what this does essentially is, if there is no Stripe ID found, it would create one. Okay. Okay. However, if there is a Stripe ID found, it will just return the user. Return user. So that's done for that. So what do we do again? So we just say, yep, just comment that, yep, and here we say, here we create a payment intent, okay, for that same customer. So that customer is the one in charge, essentially, that one that we've created now. We say this, we'll create another helper function, call it create payment intent. And that payment intent, we will pass this again. And what else do we pass? We'll pass the currency. Okay, you'd see why. And then we just take this here, I just minimize that, and just create another private function. And of course, put this in here, in there. Yep, we put that in there. Okay, so yep, amounts in cents. I think what we'll do is just copy this guy. Just copy the same guy, pass in here, and yeah, if you recall, I put a section where I could actually get metadata on the front end. So let's just, and I didn't really show you guys that, but it was actually decoded, JSON decoded. So I'll just encode it, just take it out to ensure that it's JSON. It's a JSON request that is passed. Oh, sorry guys, it's supposed to be requests. It's meta data. Let's say true. Okay. So this will return payment intent. Let's create create, sorry guys, and you will get used to apologies for me, man. Okay, what are we passing in the payment intent? We are passing the amount in cents. What are we passing? The currency. Payment method types. Let's say, so we can have multiple payment types, but we would use cards here. In this instance, description. It's a one-time payment. You can always put something else, whatever you want to put, or you can actually get it straight from, yeah, confirmation method. All this information essentially is from the docs. That's Stripe's documentation. But because I'm trying to make this video as quick as possible, I would recommend that you do that. But if you have any concerns or questions, please feel free to shoot me or just drop a comment. Don't shoot me, drop a comment. All right, users. That's how they'll fetch that ID, Stripe ID. If you recall, that's how Stripe knows that user, and the metadata would essentially be, we pass an array, and in that array we'll say from meta this is just for me and reference. So I'll be generating a reference. Just use the bin hex. Just say random bytes. Say 5. Okay. So that's that for the payment intent. Yep, that's that for the payment intent. Also, let's confirm that payment intent. Let's just say let's just confirm that payment intent. Okay, so another method, we'll just say confirm payment intent. Okay, in that confirmation, what do we get now? Sorry, this is inaccurate. So why I was just wondering why the customer, yeah, because he already did that there. Anyway, so yeah, so we confirm the payment intent. What do we need for that payment intent? Yes, we definitely need payment intent here. Sorry guys, I just had to think about this for a sec. Payment intent. And user. And so of course we don't have a payment intent the moment. Yes, that's what it is. Yes, that's this. I was going to pass it in. Yep, so we're going to confirm that payment intent. Okay. Let me just create that method. I'll just copy this and create another private method here. Okay. And in that private method, we're going to confirm the payment intent. What do we need to pass there? So we've passed the intent originally. So just say default payment method. Method is equals to user. This is all provided by this default method payment is actually available based on the Stripe cashier. And we just say if this is actually true, that's what it means essentially, if it's available. What do? Then we can confirm payment intent. Payment intent is confirmed. Confirm. What do we do here? We just payment method. Default payment method ID. Okay. Yes, that's it. Okay, so we've confirmed so we can decide also to create an invoice, but in this instance I probably would not do that. All right, let's do that. Let's create an invoice. Sorry, I was just thinking about, let's create an invoice item. Okay, so we'll say write another helper method. I'll call it create invoice item. And what do we do here? I think we pass this to just the request, and yes, this one, the amount in cents. And then I'll just create another method. Just copy this. Private function. Okay, so invoice item. Invoice item. Yes. Create. What I'll do is I'll just go into this intent, and I think I'll just copy Yes. Just being lazy here, guys. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll just take this guy out. Sorry, guys. Change this to currency. Actually, currency. And this will become customer. And that customer essentially will be Stripe ID. Stripe ID is retrieved from the user. And the amount, what was I thinking, man? Amount in cents. Currency, amount in cents, then description, invoice. Okay. So what do we do now? Once we've been able to try this, let's then update our wallet balance. Here I would also write a helper method. I'll call this update wallet balance balance. Okay, so so what do we want in this? So we want to know what user, and we want to get the request, essentially anything that we can get from the request, and amount in cents. Okay, so I'll just copy this guy and go into my private method, function, method, similar, same thing essentially. So in that update wallet, now this is where we essentially update our database. So here what I will do is I will just use the same function we used up there. Sorry, that string to upper. I'll convert it back to string to upper because that's the way I sort of want it to reflect in the database. So I'll say customer wallet is equals to wallet balance first or new. Okay, so here what I'll do is what I'll pass in there is just the customer ID and the currency. So those are the features I'll pass in. Then I would say customer wallet let's get the amount, and we'll say let's update that amount with customer wallet amounts plus essentially this guy, converting it back to from cents. And we just save it. Once we get it out, we just save this. Okay, so that what we've done is we've updated the wallet itself, and then we need to track the transaction. So I think it was wallet transactions, or rather we need to save the transaction. Create. Okay, so what I have done is I've actually just written it somewhere else, and I'll just copy and paste that here. So essentially I'm using the carbon, so for my date formatting and all that. The user ID, currency, and just a reference for me, and transaction type. Okay, so that is that for the payment itself. And for the exception, what we'll do is, of course, if you recall, we don't have any. We'll just pass just the error handling, which would create a method for, and it will handle. So the first one we'll do is we'll do the card. We'll just do this. We'll just create this method. We'll just create that method. Another private method. We'll call it to handle that error for the card. So what do we do? Function. Okay, but here we will essentially use the card exception. We can always pass that, but we'll just use the card exception again. Okay, so card exception. And what do? We return, no time wasting, we just return a response. Specifically a JSON response. If that serves me right, give it a status of false, come on, false, and give it a message. I would say get message. Okay, and we also give it a status code of 422. 422. Okay, that's for that error. Okay, let's create another method now that will handle the other error. So we just say return this. Okay, alright, so again, the rule of thumb is to create the other, or rather the other, not the rule of thumb, but what we have to do now is to create that function. I'll it's just an exception. Okay, and we can just pass this inside, but of course change it to just 500, turn our arrow and just say just say an error code. Of course, space that. Okay. Okie dokie. All right. So sorry, I was just thinking. For whatever reason, I think we've missed something important. Yeah, I think we did. So let me see. Yeah, we didn't create this method. I was just wondering. I was looking at the docs and I was like, where's the attachment? Where did we? All right, let us create that quickly. So let's just create that here. What method was that? That was sorry, that's here. Let's create it here. Yep. Let's create this method. I'll just change that definitely. I'm just thinking. Okay, yeah. Okay, so what do we need to do here? Okay, we need to attach a payment method. Yes. Okay, so payment method. Let's just use the camel case consistency. Is equals to user add payments method. Payment method. Let's just be consistent and say this is this and eventually this. Okay, and let's say if there is a payment method there available, what do? We attach it. Yes, user update default payment method. Okay, and we then say payment method ID. Okay, all right. So yep. Okay, so I think that's it. I think that's it. Okay, so let's see how we go. Let's try out this now. Let's try out this. Let's see how we go. So let's refresh this application and let's say AUD. Let's choose $100. Say 42424242424242424242, and let's say pay. Okay, create a Stripe user. All right, what I'll do is I would, not to make this video any longer, I will resolve this error and come back and tell you guys how I went about resolving it. So just stay tuned and don't forget to like and share, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.